Welcome to Starfleet Boy. Audience, please attend carefully. There are lots of spoilers for Star Trek in general. All right, and we are back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. There's a whole bunch of stuff recorded that might be interesting to put in. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to put all that stuff in here. But we were having quite a chat while I set up the technical portion of Starfleet Boy. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Behind the scenes.
The Trek trio. Look, you guys, look how bad my wrinkles are. I drank too much last night. I'm having hangover the next generation today, and you can see all these like dark circles. It's
just
stuff.
Terrible.
It's just age. It's
me on the other hand, I'm eating Oreo ice cream. You see,
this is what
much better for your health.
This is what HD does to my face. I can't stand it. I can't look at myself. We got to stop the show. No, I'm just kidding.
People are.
Well, I'm glad because all of my background looks shiny and I'm just like kind of fading in the dark. So
people are fighting for like an 4K, 8K version of all of the Star Trek movies. Do you really want to see Star Trek 6 in 8K?
I do.
You're going to see all of Shatner's face in detail.
You're never gonna see Star Trek 6 in 8K. That's Wrath of Khan for you.
Technically, you can make as many K scan as you want because they were filmed on film. So you can scan that film up to whatever 10K if you want.
Okay, but before we jump into this discussion of the next generation, do you guys think it's necessary that we continue doing beta K versions of I would like just the movies? They're all HD. Leave them at that, and remaster Voyager and Deep Space Nine.
Well, that's
because do we really need 4K versions of all of the movies? Like we've already got them. They're pretty. It's fine.
No.
You're like, yes.
I mean,
you're like, yeah. Oh yeah, we need them.
No, it is stupid. I would never do that. Once you get like 4K, stop at 4K or stop at HD, full HD, like 1080p. It's perfectly fine for human eyes.
It's not
it's
acceptable.
You're talking to the man here.
48-inch TV.
Yeah, you're talking to the man here who watches all of his Picard and all of his Expanse in fucking
6K.
What is it, 2K or whatever.
No, I watch it in 6K. I watch it on a 6K screen. I need all the Ks.
He's got more Ks than he's got Starfleet Boy episodes.
I do. I need all the Ks.
All of the Ks.
I think the line must be drawn here.
I'm fine. I don't need so many Ks.
There's no line for
I don't need
Ks
either.
By the way,
if anyone would do a 1080p upscaling of Voyager and DS9, I would be happy. Don't have to be super pristine 45K or something. Just
1080p is what? That's 1K technically, is it?
I think it's 2K or 1K. I don't know.
There's a video. There's a really cool video.
I'm going to chop some vegetables now.
2160p.
I really wish
2160p
you were
is 2K.
chopping vegetables for real. There's a really fun video. I forgot the link to it, but there's a guy who talks about how all that works, and it is true that I think after 4 or 6K,
our vision.
It doesn't.
Yeah, right.
we can't perceive the difference.
Okay, so
technically,
get to the maximum
1080p
K.
is 2K. Technically, 1080p is 2K.
1080p is 2K.
And 4K is the ultra high definition, which is.
So all right, I will concede.
Three or four times more.
I will concede that we can upscale all of our movies to the 4K and then just leave it at that. Like once we've obtained maximum perception level, just leave it at that, then move on.
Yeah, I don't think you need more.
Until our eyes start getting upgraded.
Again.
Until we start.
We're not all
Until we start getting synthetic eyes. It's coming soon. Dark Mirror. I don't know if you saw that episode of Dark Mirror.
Black Mirror.
Oh, Black Mirror. Is it called Black Mirror? I thought it was Dark Mirror. A mirror dark. That's what I'm thinking is that episode of Discovery.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
What episode are we talking about today, guys?
Oh my days, really?
Alexander from the future.
You set up the whole thing.
It's called The First Son?
It's the man trap.
No, what is it called? I can't remember.
Firstborn.
Firstborn. Thank you.
That's Alexander from the future.
It is.
Spoilers.
Do you want to do this summary? One of you guys? Gary?
I can do the summary.
Oh, go ahead, do it. Okay. Gary's like, yeah.
Want me to do the summary? Want me to do the summary? Alright, will you interrupt me?
Maybe.
You're going to interrupt me after my first sentence.
It's supposed to be a badge of honor when you get interrupted because you're exciting us.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay.
I'll see how many times I can excite you. The episode opens off with Worf being a bad father.
It continues him being a bad father, and
he's the worst dad. I mean, like,
that was so easy.
So
that was so
he's
easy.
So bad at being a dad. It's so true. He's really bad.
No, okay. To be fair, the episode starts off with Worf having trouble being a father. He wants to bond with his kid, and there's like a special ceremony, a cultural ceremony coming up, a Klingon cultural ceremony coming up.
I just started recording. The video is going to be late on this episode.
Oh my goodness!
I just started.
The man is not prepared.
I just started recording.
We started doing the recap before he started recording. This is terrible.
The audio is being recorded, so that's good. We can put that on.
It's fine. He's gonna put.
Hello,
some
audience.
Boy magic on.
Hello, we're here now.
These working conditions.
Audience, we're here. Hello. This is. Last night was a fun night, at the household. We had a little too much sake here at Starfleet Boy headquarters, and so now we're here, and we're back to the summary. So
I've got to find my notes. I was doing the summary, but I don't even have my notes out.
Worf's being a bad dad. I interrupted you.
Worf, in order to correct his bad dad moment, wants to I don't know. The plot is basically he goes and shares a cultural moment with his son on a planet, on a Klingon outpost that's not too far away, and they meet another Klingon there, which is supposed to be, we don't really know who he is, but he says that he's bound to the House of Moog for some reason, and he's here to help. He tries to help Worf out with his son and help Worf become a better father, and maybe help his son out. He claims that he wants to help his son become a better Klingon, become a better warrior, wants to send him to a Klingon school and what have you, and then it's later revealed that this unknown dude is actually Alexander himself, and his plot was either to change the course of his life, because he's been disappointed with his life. He wants to either change the decisions of his younger self so that his life changes, or kill him straight up. It's like a suicide from the past so that his existence never happens. And yeah, there's kind of a sort of a debate whether that's good or not, but it's not really addressed. I suppose in the episode it's not really focused on that, and then he just goes back to his time. And that's it.
Do we really know that actually? Does he go back to his
doesn't
time?
It doesn't really end, does it?
Can he go back to his time?
I don't know. He doesn't change. Does he disappear? What happens to him?
It's not explained at all. There could be a future.
Is he killed?
He could just be running around. I mean, it's the same actor who played Admiral Jarok, so maybe he takes a pill and dies or something. I don't know what happens to it.
No one knows. Alexander still turned out to be a shit person because poor kid. It's not on him. It's on Worf.
Wow. Why would you say that?
Later on, we see him in Deep Space Nine, and he's like the worst Klingon warrior officer.
Didn't he do better at the end though? When he towards in season 7, he can shoot better. He's doing everything. They give it a status update or something. We get
I think the best episode with Alexander was A Fistful of Datas. and I think that he was really good at being a deputy, and I think that Alexander, as an adult, should have gone to write holo novels or something.
Then it
He
would
should
have
have
been
done that.
like,
Or being a deputy.
then it would have been more like the episode The Visitor, or not The Visitor. What's another? There's another episode where someone's kid comes back from the future, or is this the only one?
Well, The Visitor involves time travel, doesn't
Time
it?
travel,
But it's
that's
not exactly.
true.
It's not
But it's
exactly
a
the
diff-
same.
it's the
Well, it's
other
not
way.
really time travel, isn't it? It's kind of time displacement,
Kind of
whatever it is. I don't know.
something like. They use the rubber band as an analogy. to describe-
This episode ain't no Visitor. I'm telling you that.
No, it's definitely not The Visitor. That was a good summary. It is. I probably popped it or like made it fizzle a little because I wasn't recording and I didn't have my my act together here on Starfleet Boys, so I apologize.
I mean, it's not the most engaging of episodes. I think it has moments that are fun, but like we have to talk about Quark eventually.
Yeah, you didn't mention that in your summary. Those were the things that I liked the whole chase after the Duras sisters thing. Like I liked how it was interesting. Hold on, let me pull this up here. Who was the director of this? It was someone West or something like that. I forget. TNG. I meant to
I don't
pull
know.
it up on IMDb. I can't no matter how hard I try, I keep forgetting the title of this episode. It's like blanked in my mind. Isn't that weird? It's like
The Visitor.
Firstborn. It's called Firstborn, right? Yes, Firstborn. Which is one word. I didn't know that it was one word.
Is it? No, it's not.
It is one word.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Firstborn. You're the first.
Okay.
You are my firstborn, Alexander.
Jonathan West. Who's Jonathan West?
Jonathan West.
He directed the. Hang on. Wasn't he directed some other episodes before?
Let's take.
No,
a look
this
at
was
it.
his first. This was his first. As a director, this was his first episode. But then he went on and he did 6 episodes of Deep Space Nine, apparently.
That's what I
Jonathan
meant to point out. So this episode to me felt.
He did the last episode as well. I think he was he was for the finale.
No,
For All Good Things.
No.
Wasn't he the director?
no.
No, I think that All Good
It says
Things
no.
is
Oh, okay.
is All Good Things not Winrick Colby or someone like that? I can't remember. Oh no, he is the director of All Good Things, of photography. He's the director of photography on All Good Things.
Is he?
Mhm.
I don't know. Okay, just ignore me.
Doesn't say that.
It says it on IMDb.
Not on the Memory Alpha.
Star Trek: The
Who's-
Next Generation.
Yeah, not on the memory of it, but I do remember, the Next Generation, the end of Saga, there's a documentary just after the finale, and actually they interview him as well as part of the finale.
Okay.
So that's why I remember him being the director
Okay.
for the last
He's
episode.
definitely the director of photography on All Good Things and 47 other episodes.
Oh no, that's Winrick Colby. Okay,
Yeah.
so I must have just my mind
Well,
played some
that's okay
nasty
because
game on me.
I think something that stood out to me, the reason I bring up this director and why now it's even more interesting that he's done so much of he's been the director of photography on so many episodes, is because I think that was the thing that the Alexander thing I think kind of wasn't very interesting even now. I don't remember it being terribly interesting or cool that he time traveled. It didn't stir my imagination, but I did remember.
It is the most underwhelming use of time travel ever, isn't it? Like it's not even like importantly addressed. And like the worst thing is he says, "Oh, I acquired the tech from some other dude." Whatever.
Well, now we now know he
It's
probably
like-
got a time crystal because Klingons have.
Oh yeah, I agree. He says I went to some guy. He had the tech set up. He made me time travel. I'm pretty sure that dude was either like a renegade time protector that stole a bunch of crystals and now he's using them, or someone that just stole it from them.
100%. It's like
The Boreth time crystals are like the vibranium of the Star Trek universe. Everyone wants to go and steal them. Go on. I'm sorry.
Gary looks perturbed. No time.
He doesn't care. He's all like, "This is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't care."
I would like to show you guys.
It's like, I'll just wait when you go back to the episode. But you're talking about the episode.
We are talking about the episode. It's time crystals. Look, here's a time crystal. I have one.
Kind of.
No, it is a time crystal.
Oh, that's the one that you had a picture on Twitter, I think.
I bought this from Rocknalia, which is an Etsy shop.
Oh yeah,
that's run.
That's a very, very sweet one.
That's run by Heather, Ray, or Batleth, babe.
Batleth, babe.
I can't say Batleth without saying it seriously. And then I found out that time crystals come in all kinds of colors. Look at this one.
Wow. So can you go back in time to the beginning of this episode and actually start the video?
Hold on, let me try really hard.
I think that's too much effort.
And we're back on another exciting episode of
Hey.
Starfleet, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today's episode is Firstborn. Look, I did it. I did it.
And this is when I kind of like blink heavily, like, did I miss the last 20 minutes from my life? What happened?
Gary's our Picard in that infinite loop. He's like, "Oh my god, really? This is happening again?"
Am I dead? Am I dead, Data?
This episode I remember being cool because it totally makes it feel like Deep Space Nine and Star Trek: The Next Generation are like in the same universe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of the things that definitely stood out to me. And I also loved, like, again, you know, as far as, like, I think season 7, it's like one of those things where, like, the stories may not be the best stories, but as far as, like, this cast is concerned and, like, all the actors and performances are concerned and, like, the nuances that you get, it's really great. And I see more stuff every time I watch it. And, like, one thing I didn't notice before, did I just disappear, guys? Sorry about that. All right. one thing I didn't notice before watching it this time, and I think it's been like at least 10 years since I've seen this episode, because it's definitely not an episode that I think about going back to. But I like how Picard is the one, like in the conference room, they're going over just regular plans with he's going over regular ship stuff, like allocating sensor time to a certain department and security and this and that, and Worf's distracted, and it's Picard who suggests, like, Picard knows that it's this holiday coming up. It's like, he suggests to Worf, like, maybe you should do this, like, and that's how the whole thing kind of goes into play. And then I also thought a funny thing related to that is that, like, that's why these admirals must really dislike Jean-Luc, is because he's just like, well, let's just all go to this Klingon planet and attend the festival. It's like, they probably have him on.
Jean-Luc has been dropped off in an archaeology mission or something.
They justify this in a way because he says whatever crew, they would be happy because they have to go around a nebula,
telecartography,
and the other guys can. So this team, they're going to be able to scan and collect data on this nebula. So it remains kind of scientific.
That's cool. I didn't catch that
because even Worf says we can't send the entire Enterprise off track to go to a planet just so I can chill out with my son and eat worms. But he's like, nah, it's all right. The other people will do some scans. It's fine.
And then that was in my notes I wrote that scene. I loved the planet, the festival or whatever.
The worms.
Well, I didn't like the worms.
I like Geordi's reaction to the worms.
That was cool.
Because Worf offers them and he's just like,
you can tell he's just like, no thanks. What is that? Isn't that, like, I guess, I don't know. I forget. I don't think they tell you what that is. But was it
No.
Gok? Maybe it's just Gok.
Probably not.
Worms.
You think it's Gok to go?
Gok to go.
Gok to go.
Yes. Boom. Good job.
So with a gok jerky or something.
Gok jerky.
No, because they're alive. The worms are still moving, right?
I don't know. They look quite.
I'll tell you what.
You know.
I think they were probably made out. They were probably made out of. What is it? Well, they're like the same thing as gummy bears. Essentially, they're probably made out of gelatin or something. And sugar. That's probably what they were. And then they put like brown. They put like brown sugar or something to make it look like dirt or whatever it is. Because there's this whole scene where Geordi and Worf are speaking, but the actor playing Alexander, he's munching them down. And it's like, the actor's not pretending. He's just he's eating these things like, oh, it must have tasted bloody good.
They must have been really sweet and nice. It's true. That is pretty funny. I didn't even think about that. But I like that the whole ceremonial depiction of medieval Klingons. And although one thing that I thought was funny is like those robes that they were wearing were like very outlandish and colorful, but I get that because it's like a festival and it's meant to be exciting and happy and stuff like that. I don't think that medieval Klingons actually dress like that. They probably dress more like the Klingons in Star Trek Discovery, ironically. It's not look like, but dress like.
Let's not go there.
Those cool, like what L'Rell was wearing.
I agree.
And those outfits are pretty cool.
The clothes in Star Trek the Klingon clothes in Star Trek Discovery do seem very ancient, and it makes sense in the context of like these guys don't necessarily believe in this like the same Kalis, or they don't believe the same stories about Kalis. They have a different faith. Right. And it makes sense like they're like a more ancient faith, or they're more like a more how should we put this? I don't
hardcore, know. Like they're a little more.
Yeah, they're like more intense, right?
Intense kind of faith, yeah.
And it makes sense.
At least they say it right. They say Kalis, not Kailash.
Kailash. Well, to be fair with Discovery, it's because Discovery they pronounce it correctly, whereas every other actor in Star Trek has always pronounced Klingon badly. Like Worf can't speak Klingon for shit. But then he grew up on Earth.
I don't know. I'm not judging any of them. I don't speak Klingon, so once I will judge them.
No, but
you can take lessons from Mary Chifo. Apparently, she's pretty good at Klingon.
Yeah, apparently she's become pretty good. But Kailash is apparently like the correct pronunciation of the name, isn't it?
Oh, do you have to do the voice too? Can't you just say Kailash? Kailash.
Kailash. Do it all smart. Do it all English. Oh yes, Kailash.
Oh yes, Kailash is coming over for dinner tonight. I don't know. Why do I have to do?
Have you prepared the prune juice?
Oh my god, that's so true. What do you offer a Klingon when they come to your home on Earth? It's prune juice. That's fantastic. But I did love all that. I liked that there was a festival. I liked the little Klingon planet. Why did you go blurry, Sean? What just happened?
I don't know. Why am I blurry? What the hell?
You're like completely blurry. Guys, we lost Sean. There he is.
Hey. I was agreeing with what you were saying, and then I went blurry. I'm sorry.
It's alright.
I apologize.
You see, this is what you get when you agree.
That's
shouldn't
right.
agree.
I shouldn't agree. I should be confrontational.
Do it.
You're wrong, sir.
You're wrong. You're
no,
wrong.
I do agree.
You're wrong.
You're
wrong about the Kelvin timeline.
No. Let's move on about that.
Okay.
What you're saying about this episode is correct. I agree.
Okay.
I think that the world building, not only between like the crossover between Deep Space Nine and The Next Generation as two shows, but also the fact that they go to this Klingon outpost, then they go to this other planet where apparently the Duras sisters have been stealing some kind of ore. You go to all of these different places, and I really like these kind of episodes. Like, there's plenty of episodes where like Riker or someone, they dressed up as common thugs and they go to a bar or something like that, and I like that. It opens up the universe a lot more. In a way, it's kind of giving us glimpses of what we then spent 10 episodes of Picard doing, right? Because Picard was all about these kind of other planets or these like non-official governments or whatever that we're used to seeing, because we usually only see the highest of the high in these planets, right, in The Next Generation. But Picard takes us to just some random bar on Free Cloud, some random planet, what have you. And
right.
This is very much what we're doing.
That. Yeah, it's true. You're absolutely right. It is interesting. It is interesting that like I don't remember Picard. Like I'm trying. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble. Maybe it's because I watched this episode yesterday and I had a few drinks, but I can't remember. I know this is so terrible, right? It's so unprofessional, guys. You came ready. You guys watched the show. You watched the episode. You took your notes. I have drunk notes. This is not
the worst.
I did not take notes.
Where's the chief medical officer? Can we relieve the captain?
Oh god, Gary's the chief medical officer. So yeah.
Oh really?
He's definitely the.
I'm not.
You got the
I'm
blue.
just a jester.
You've got the blue science division thing going on. So.
Well, science and medical is not the same.
Nope. No.
What are you? You're the gardener. You're the one that does.
You're the botanical. You've been what?
Yeah, that's right.
What division? Taking a quick break. Our audience loves it when we do this from the discussion. I'm curious, what would be your division? Like, what would you do in Starfleet if you served in Starfleet? What would your interest be? Like, where would you focus all your work on?
Is this Gary?
Both. This is everyone here. I'll answer.
I'm too stupid to be on a Starfleet ship. I'd have to be security.
Why want to be a red shirt?
Why do you
really?
have to be stupid to be in security? Like,
you don't have to be stupid to be security. I think that many people in security are very intelligent. They're the ones that get promoted. But I think that, like, considering I have no particular talents that could be useful on the ship, I think I would just have to. I would just have to be a guard or something, like just waiting in front of the door. I'd be the one that gets beat up when someone comes out the door.
What was your interest in school? Like, what was your favorite subject?
My favorite subject in school?
Yeah.
Didn't really have a favorite subject in school. I wasn't too good with the school.
All right. Well.
I mean, I'm a pastry chef now, and I enjoy the arts and the crafts. I enjoy doing the music. I enjoy
Then you would be probably great in security.
Because they don't need a pastry chef. They got the replicators.
I would put you in ops.
Really?
Ops. Yeah, I would put you in operations because I do think you would be good at doing crew evaluations and also administrative tasks. So I would put you in operations.
Administrative tasks? Oh, yeah. So I would be doing the schedules.
Yes.
I'd be doing the duty rosters and stuff like that.
The night shift. You'd coordinate the night shift.
Coordinate the night shift.
Holidays. You got to make sure people have their days off. Things like that.
I'm the person people come to when they want to, I've got shore leave. Can I debark onto this planet? No, you can't.
Lisa in stellar cartography's gone that day, and I need everyone. I need all hands on deck.
Exactly. What are you, crazy? Jeffrey's Tube 5.
And then on my personal starship, you'd definitely be on the bridge crew. You'd be part of the bridge crew. You'd probably.
God knows why.
I'd put you at weapons or tactical, just like Worf.
That's already sounds like the Orville for me.
What about you, Gary? What division would you be in?
I don't know. You beautifully summed up what Sean would do best. So I would love to know what you think of me.
Like I said, I'd probably put you in medical. You'd be the doctor. You could override my craziness anytime you want. No.
So your crew compliments would radically drop down every single time when we engage someone because I wouldn't be able to treat anyone.
Yeah, because I'm bloody tactical, so we would probably lose every fight.
Being a doctor in the future is really easy.
It's like we have to reboot you earlier. You better be an android, just to press the reset button or something.
Being a doctor is easy in the future, Gary. You could definitely do it. All you have to do is ask the computer what's wrong with the person, ask it what to do, and then do it. And that's it. It's pretty much it.
So I would be a perfect EMH.
An EMH. There you go. No,
I would want you. If you're the chief medical officer, you could have the EMH do all your job.
It's true. You could actually. Why not? That's true.
Just program the the outside, the hollow matrices for your own image, and you just go to the bar and have some drinks.
No, if on my imaginary ship, I would put you, Gary, probably at the helm on the ship because I'd want to see you every day. I don't want to just I don't want to just have to get sick.
I'll take it. I'll take it as a compliment.
He doesn't want professionals on the bridge. He wants his friends.
I want my friends.
But that being said, I because I love driving. I would love to be in the helm. Yeah.
And you know what? You know what? There's no bloody traffic in space.
Yeah. So it would be very boring.
There's a few rocks. Be careful. Don't hit a rock, Gary.
There's no traffic.
It would be awesome.
Right now.
Or even like a shuttlecraft instructor. That would be fun.
Ooh, see? We already found a good job for Gary. I like that. There we go. We have a good.
I would do that, and I would do some hobby botanics or something. With Kaiko on the botanics bay. no one really wants to be around her anyway. So.
Okay, good. Now we know. And then I don't know who I would put as my first officer, but it would probably be the doctor. Would have to be number one. I think that's fair. And then
now who you will be then? Guinan?
I'm the captain. It's my ship. No, but if
so, okay. So, what kind of ship are we talking about? Because we have to think about if we really want to serve on that ship.
It would be the latest class of exploration vessel. But if I picked from a legacy ship, I would say it would be the Enterprise E. My ship is the Enterprise E.
Specifically the Enterprise E, or like a Sovereign class?
It would be. I mean, if I couldn't have the Enterprise, I would want a Sovereign class. Like it would feel. I would just pretend it's the Enterprise that way. Like.
Is it like the USS Starfleet boy or something?
That would be a terrible name for a starship. But could you imagine if that really happened? Yes, there was an obscure YouTube show. In the
US, it's the USS podcast, and the captain's always like recording things in his office.
Since the
and the captain being engaged to work, it's like, wait, I have 2 minutes to finish this.
We went way off topic here. Now we gotta bring it. Now we gotta bring it back. We gotta bring it back. What were we talking about? How did we get off topic here?
We were talking about the world building and the various planets.
That's right.
And how we went to the various places and how that was fun.
That was fun. The other thing that was fun, I thought, was again, it has so many great things. The only issue I have with it is like the Alexander story itself, because like Riker, the way he blows up the ore and then reveals, that was a cool sequence, like how he uses the ore fragments to reveal that the bird of prey is there, and he goes on that he had a hunch that it was there, and like how he figured out, since they only had a partial amount of the ore, that the transfer must have been taking place as they arrived. Like, it was just, all that stuff was like really top-notch Star Trek-y kind of space stuff.
One thing I don't really understand about the episode, particularly the scene between Quark and Riker, and I never really paid attention, never really knew why is that. Why there was a Starfleet security officer in the background? Isn't it supposed to be like a private call? So why there was a security officer in when they've been talking, when he was calling DS9 and Quark was talking and whatsoever, and there was a security officer in the background. And he wasn't even talking from the bar or from his quarter or something. Why there was a security officer? And I still don't know the answer for that.
Behind Quark?
Yeah.
Behind Quark, yes, on the call.
I don't know. That's a really
I never
good
really
question.
understood why.
I don't know. Did
maybe they were sleeping together.
Did Riker call Quark's bar, or did Riker call or Quark directly, or did he call Deep Space Nine? Like as a Starfleet to Starfleet communication, and then so Cisco went, or someone, whoever was like in charge at that point, said, "Go and get Quark," and then they had him sit down in front of a computer screen, and they had a security officer behind.
Oh, okay, that might have been, yeah. I just kept wondering this, like, why,
That's a really good question.
But then again, the whole bridge crew on the Enterprise seeing Quark and anyway, so seeing what they're talking about. So I guess, yeah. Sorry,
I like the dual
wasn't really valuable.
I think that's cool because I like how one of the best things about Star Trek Generations. I know that it's not a movie that's universally loved.
I like what Quark says. Big something, small tips. But he's like gestures as if they have
big talk, small
big
tips.
talk, small tips.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But he makes this gesture, and it reminded me of something else. Their anatomy.
No, I was gonna say the Duras sisters are a plotline that I quite enjoy, and I like Star Trek Generations is not the most appreciated of movies, but I think that it does wrap up a lot of things or explain a lot of things. Like Star Trek Generations goes over Guinan, and it talks about the Elorians, and among many other things, there's the Duras sisters in there, and I like that the Duras sisters they came back from their episode Next Generation, but we also saw them in this first season of Deep Space Nine that was going on at the same time as this show here.
Right.
And I like that. And that's part of that world building. It's part of going to all of these different planets. You see and you encounter these same people over and over again. It's fun.
You and wife on the tube were watching Star Trek and Next Generation and Deep Space Nine in this like in the way that they were really
in the release order.
In the release order. So they were overlapping for you, right? Like you were watching Deep Space Nine and
it was
TNG.
one TNG, one Deep Space Nine, one TNG, or sometimes not, because the release order was really strange. Sometimes it was two Deep Space Nines and then 3 TNGs and then one Deep Space Nine and one TNG. It was constantly changing. I don't know why, but apparently
that's
that was
interesting.
it.
I don't even know why that would be. I can't remember. Of course, I do remember they were overlapping when I first was watching TNG and Deep Space Nine, so I do remember that.
It is really cool, and I think it is the most rewarding way to watch Star Trek, because there are certain admirals. What's she called?
Nechayev.
Nechayev is the short-haired blonde one. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay,
She's
so
my
she
favorite.
pops in for the first
She's not
time
my favorite
somewhere.
of all time, but I love Nechayev. I think she's great.
She pops in for the first time in the Next Generation. And then you see her quite a bit in both the Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. She has appearances, and I think it's kind of I don't know. It's fun. It's I don't know. It's fun.
In the previous episode, they call her actually Fleet Admiral Nechayev, so she's been promoted. It was a little.
Oh, wow.
I'd love to know what happened to her career. I liked, what was her name, Admiral Clancy. Just fine, but I'm surprised we don't.
It would have been better to have Nechayev in the.
It would have been a really cool.
I was thinking about the same.
I think Nechayev was too old to be still there 30 years later, wouldn't she?
I mean, I don't know.
She would have been retired the same as Picard, right?
Well, Picard retired.
Still, it would have been nice.
Yeah, and didn't Picard retire early? Maybe he could. I don't know if you should be an admiral at 90. That's true.
I hate Admiral Clancy. I think that Fleet Admiral Clancy is terrible.
Well, she's she's just she's the command. What is she? Commander in chief, right? She's the CNC of Starfleet.
Yeah, I think she's horrible. And she's always yelling and saying swear words. But I would be very interested in seeing a short tricks that kind of glosses over her career, and how this shouty, swearing woman got to where she was. And I think it would be interesting. It'd be interesting if they could play that in a way where her kind of outspoken attitude was, on the contrary, a positive attribute, or helped her career along. Because I see it as a negative, but it would be, I don't know. It would be fun to see that. Because I want to see how she got to where she is, right?
It would be fun to see that. I agree.
Nechayev was just kind of rigid, I guess.
Since Alexander's story goes on to Deep Space Nine, you can't really say anything about this being how the last episode was Wesley's last appearance until his cameo in Nemesis. It was his last episode. It was also kind of a farewell. And spoilers, we didn't think it was pulled off that great. And I think this episode had a lot of potential to be more. There were things that were working, before you find out that it's actually Alexander, when you find out that the character is just a family. I mean, I already now I know it's Alexander, but when I'm trying to remember when I was first watching it, some of the scenes between him and Alexander are, and I forget the name of the actor. Do you know, Gary or Sean, by any chance, the actor who plays future Alexander? He's in so much Star Trek. We should probably pull him up too, because
to be honest, the first time when I seen him, not knowing him, not knowing about him, I thought it's Christopher Lloyd.
You thought
under heavy makeup.
Oh no!
Because from the far he looks a bit like Christopher Lloyd.
He's a great actor. His name is James Sloyan, and I'll tell you all the Star Treks he's been on, because he was on quite a few.
Oh.
He's been.
Yes, he was that. Okay, he was that Bajoran.
Well, yeah, he was. So he was in the Defector. He played Admiral.
He was the guy that was talking to Data about all of the cyberneticists that would like to get out.
Right, that's him. So he's Admiral Jarok, I think is the name of that character, right? Jarok. And then on Deep Space Nine, he's in The Alternate and The Begotten as Dr. Mora, another great character, and he's also in Voyager. It says as Jetrel, and I remembered that. I forgot about that he played.
Oh
Jetrel.
Yeah, damn it, yeah, that's true. Yeah, Jetrel.
So
yeah, I remember his face now.
Yeah, he's so memorable. I mean, like, he's been in a lot. So it was interesting that they chose him to play Alexander. I think he's a powerful actor, but I also think that his choice to play Alexander. I just think it's sad that Alexander is so heartbroken or broken in the future, if that makes sense.
He had the worst life.
He has really a really bad life, right? Like, it's just kind of sad.
The fact that they have him appear in Deep Space Nine as well kind of undercuts this episode in a sense, because this episode could have been the big farewell to Alexander the character, and it could have also been like, hey, his life was shit, but he came back in the past and he did something and he changed it, and now you don't need to show us, but he went off to live his life, and you kind of imagine that it went well from this point on, but it doesn't, because then they showed in Deep Space Nine and it's not good. He's still not doing well in Deep Space Nine. It's kind of sad. I think that by the way, he's a great actor, adult version, you're saying, but I don't think he played Alexander well.
Right.
Because I don't see the kid Alexander or the teenage Alexander that we see later on becoming that adult, and I just don't think that the personality that he chose to portray fits kind of the story that he lived. He should have been really more broken. I guess you could say that he was putting on a character. He was putting on a role of this other Klingon because he didn't want to be himself.
Right.
But he should have he should have seemed more broken, I suppose. He should have seemed more just... It's not even broken, it's kind of like just over it, right? The guy's ready to come back and kill himself in the past, right? So,
and that's the other thing. It's like, how do
you're not committing suicide. You're killing the younger you so that you never existed. That's bloody intense.
That is really intense. It's kind of frightening, actually. What kind of...
Imagine how distressed you need to be, or in what kind of position of sadness you need to be to even go that far. You don't want to just die, you want to wipe your existence. And that, I think, is not sold. That never really shows.
Yeah, it's not quite backed up, or it doesn't really. Yeah, Worf. Michael Dorn's performance in this is actually really good. I love that scene. That scene at the end, the climax, is really well performed. And when he has the realization that it's Alexander, and he kind of just you could tell he's sad for Alexander, but he's also well, now you've changed time, so anything can happen. But that's the part that bothers me, is that he just disappears, and it would have been neat if we actually saw him go back to the future, and I don't know how they could have done it, but maybe they show a scene in the distant future of Alexander being finally proud of himself and
Worf isn't affected enough, to be honest. If an adult version of my daughter came back tomorrow and wanted to murder my baby daughter, I would be frightened for the baby version, I guess, of my daughter, yes, but I would also be very, very, very worried and distraught about how did it get to this? Like how did
it's because
life
Worf's
turn
a
out
bad
so
dad.
bad?
It's because Worf's
He doesn't care enough.
Have to go back,
He's not invested
we have to
enough.
go back to the beginning and just say that Worf's a bad dad. He makes Alexander hate his life. It's like so terrible. No, but
I'm gonna be honest. His mother didn't do a too good job either, because she started off his life by like rejecting everything Klingon, and teaching him nothing about the Klingon ways, and taught him only how to be a human. And
Right.
that wasn't very good too. And then poor Alexander gets pressure, like from the moment his mother dies, he gets pressure by everyone he meets to be a Klingon, like what they consider to be the real Klingon. You know, like Klingons aren't allowed to be a gardener; they have to be a bloody warrior. They have to be even Picard in the beginning of this episode says to Worf, "Oh, it would be a good occasion to go and show him the cultural heritage." Oh, yeah, maybe he doesn't care.
he doesn't care. It's true. He wants to be. He doesn't want. He doesn't. He doesn't want to
kid.
go. He doesn't want to go into security. What are you doing with that DVD? Are you going to promote it? is this like
Are you
a
kidding?
cross?
No,
Is this a cross
absolutely
promotion?
not.
Did you announce
I
the winner yet?
I will be giving this away one day on my channel.
How do you-
Once I do my overview,
How do you enter in the contest?
you leave a comment.
On this video that when you do the overview of that. when you
Oh, the
delete it.
overview video. When I do the overview video,
Oh,
you need
okay.
to leave a comment and you need to be subscribed. That's usually the general conditions. You need I randomize. There's a program online which randomizes and chooses one of the comments,
Oh.
and then I go and check if that comment has been left by someone that's subscribed, and if the person is subscribed, then I can send it.
Well, if you send it to a non-subscriber, they can become a subscriber. It might be an incentive.
I think that's not fair to the people that have been subscribed and
It's
supporting the
true.
channel.
I agree. Gary, you look totally bored.
It's
on
also
this
not a
episode
good
or
marketing
something,
move.
but Gary's totally bored. He's not even paying attention to us anymore. He didn't even answer. Look, see? I told you.
He's recreating
I told
recreating his reaction to the actual episode.
Yeah, but we're totally boring Gary. He's not even... You weren't even listening to us, Gary. Thanks.
He was watching a video.
If
No,
I
I'm
told
not
you to
watching any
do
video.
evasive... I'm taking you off the helm
I'm
because
listening.
if I told you to do evasive actions, you wouldn't have been paying attention and we would have all died.
No, maybe maybe I would have anyway. How dare you?
Gary, on our...
When he comes on to these Starfleet boys, he doesn't act like a guest or a special guest. He acts like the audience. He likes to just listen to us. Like he's listening to Starfleet Boy live is what he's doing.
It's it's kind of interesting because like I don't even know what to say.
Well, I want to ask you a question.
Just ignore me.
I want to ask you a question because on our group chat...
Yeah, I give up. I give up the helm for botany. No, there you go.
Botany. Get off my bridge. I have a question. On our group chat, you remarked that you were excited about this episode, and then after you saw it, you changed your mind. Can you talk to us now? You can finally tell us some of the details about what you were feeling.
Give us the deets.
Give us the deets.
Well,
here.
it's not much of a deep dive into it. It's just okay. So when I first saw it, I was fascinated by the Klingon culture and all these things and songs that they've been performing. That was beautiful and fascinating for me at the beginning, but that was I was focusing on back then. I was like, oh, it was just so amazing seeing and getting to know more about the Klingon culture. But in this case, maybe because I'm older now and hopefully one day I'm gonna become a father as well. I seen that I definitely don't want to become the father that Worf became, and who is not actually. The lack of fatherhood that he has, I don't want to have that. And actually, I was watching it with my wife in the morning. All of us, she was playing in her phone in next to me, and every now and then she's paying attention, and but based on what she heard and she's seen in a glimpse, we both agreed that I don't want to become the father like Worf became a father. or Warflex. I want to, and having that sense of like, this is how everything works, this is tradition, this is that we have to do this. Like, this is not the right way to raise a kid, and to literally forcing your ideas into your kid. That's not something that I would like to do. I would love our kids to explore many different things from both of our culture, and decide if he wants to go. I'm not going to force anything on anyone, and that's basically something that really changed my mind in terms of this episode. I was fascinated by the Klingons before, but now I'm kind of got like, Klingons are very traditional for sure, which comes back for many societies around the globe these days. It's like, you have to follow the rules, and you have to do this, and you have to behave this way, you have to wear this sort of clothing. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I just don't want to become the person who will raise a kid based on like, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. No, you have the total freedom to do whatever you want to in your life. And of course with guidance and introducing things, but not forcing. And I think that's something that Worf did.
Do you think
totally wrong?
Do you think he changes? Because at the end, so what happens to Alexander after this is like, well, Worf at the end, he's like, oh, there's time for I don't know. He seems to soften at the end. I don't know, but I don't know if we ever see that relation. I think that's the thing, is that like.
I think, yeah, definitely that getting a bit of a glimpse into Alexander's future helps him to understand that maybe it's the way how he does things is not the right thing to do. And even when Alexander talks about his experience and having that he's seen Worf die in the future, and then the House of Moog is in ruins, he still doesn't dismiss him as like, oh, you haven't been a warrior. No, he has a kind of an understanding towards him that, hey, like, I think deep down Worf knows that he's not a proper Klingon warrior either. He wants to be, but he won't be, because he's not a Klingon warrior that a Klingon society would accept these days, even though he trying to prove it so hard. But
right.
He's a softened person, and I think later on Jadzia proves this really well.
Do you guys ever feel that kind of pressure in real life in your own cultures? Because we all have different cultural backgrounds. Do you ever feel this kind of pressure from your, like, to be, whatever, like, is the epitome of your culture, to epitomize it?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
I did when I was young, but I don't feel it anymore.
I don't. I feel stupid to not be able to do the New Zealand accent correctly, because I'm from New Zealand and I can't even do it. I can do like the Australian, I can do an Irish, maybe a bit of a Scot. I can't do the New Zealand accent.
Isn't your natural
It's not.
accent?
It's broken. My natural accent makes no sense. So many people ask me if I'm like from South Africa or anything on YouTube. So
interesting.
But no, I don't feel. But the thing is, I was in New Zealand for a while, but I had so living in New Zealand. Like, New Zealand is a melting pot. So there's people from New Zealand, which either of like kind of so UK descent. So they're either Scottish or Irish or English. But then you've got all of the people that are from Poland, like of Polynesian descent. So you've got all the Samoans, the Maori, Tongans, Fiji, all of that. And then you've got so many different people that have come from so many different countries across Asia or whatever. Which means that in my family...
That's so funny. I always just think it's sheep and hobbits, but now I know.
No. There's more cows than sheep now, I think, too. But so New Zealand being such a melting pot, I grew up with so many different kind of cultures, I suppose, around me. And then I moved to France, and then you get injected with so many different cultures. Because like in New Zealand, a lot of the immigration comes from Asian countries, whereas in France, a lot of the immigration comes from African countries. So then all of a sudden, I was like inundated with all of these different cultures. And now I'm in Canada, and it's a whole different story.
Wow, Trek on the Tube, you're Worf. You are. You've been shipped around from Kronos.
And I know this sounds really corny, and people like to say this, to be kind of hipsters, like I'm a son of the world. But I kind of feel that way. I kind of feel like I don't have like a specific culture. It's kind of like I've lived and come to understand many different things from many different countries, which means like sitting here in Canada, sometimes I look at something, I'm like, that is the most stupid thing that exists. They do it this way in France and that is much better. But then sometimes I go back to France and I'm like, why the hell are they not doing it this way like it was done in New Zealand, right?
Or Canada. Does Canada ever win?
Oh no, it does. But it's just like sometimes you know what I mean, and so there's
Right.
no this is the right way. It's just like, and on another level that frustrates me in Star Trek now, because when I look at Star Trek, it's very American, and there are things in Star Trek which are so American. I'm like, but in the future, surely humans would have adopted the best way to do this, and the best way to do this was from this other country. You know what I mean? It, like, America has not got the best way to do things for everything. Quite the contrary. Many of the best way to do things come from Asia or Europe, and like, why would that not be in our future? But because Star Trek is American as a show, right? So it comes with those flaws, I guess. But I don't feel any pressure from a specific culture.
Doesn't, like, in Star Trek, isn't it kind of suggested that, like,
it's, I suppose the Americans won in Star Trek. The Americans took over the planet, right? And then they went into space. It's Space Force. That's what happened.
Coming into Netflix in May.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that was a good response, Gary. But you also have traveled and lived in different countries from your home. I'm the only one.
Yeah, but to be honest with you,
who's only lived in one country.
it's an interesting because you know, especially in the dawn of the 21st century, we cannot really just confine ourselves to one place anymore. I mean, because of the communication, because of the travel got easier for many people. You meet different cultures, and if you're curious, you start realizing that you're human, not just a specific nation, son or something. You're human and part of this big family, essentially. And meeting different people from different worlds, and I'll consider myself as human in that regard. I'm not just thinking about my nationality or you know, where I live at the moment.
So what would that be?
Yeah, I'm human.
What would that be like in the Federation? Because if you're a citizen of the Federation, do you also not feel like Earth is your you know what I mean? Like, because there could be humans.
I would feel Earth as my home, but I wouldn't feel like, you know.
But you could be a human
from Scotland or
but
something.
you could be a
No.
human born on many different colonies, and they're not necessarily
Of course.
human colonies only. Or
And
you
you
know
see,
what I
and
mean? Like,
that's a really good point as well. I mean, I could have if I'm born, like, let's say in Beta Z, that would be so dear to me, because even though I'm human in origin as genetically, but I was still brought up in you know, in Beta Z. Maybe my parents are half human, half Beta Z, but
or stationed
I would
there.
still carry both.
They could have just you could have been
or
born
a
while they
station,
were
there you go.
stationed there. You know, just like so many military. My friend was born in Germany because his father was stationed in the military during when he was born. You know, so.
Did he grow up there?
No, just born there. That's what I'm saying. Is like you could just. There's so many ways, I think, in the Federation.
In your specific case, and I think this is the case of a lot of U.S. citizens, you're kind of like less complicated than me in the sense that you were born and raised in the United States.
No, I was born in Pakistan.
Okay, so you came to the United States at a very young age, right?
At 2, yeah. So I was raised. Okay. I was definitely raised.
So you have this whole thing where you've lived and grown and therefore been like kind of you've evolved in the world of the United States.
Correct.
But then you do have this kind of attachment or this penchant towards this heritage that you have, like the Pakistani heritage. You think, and sometimes do you feel insecure? Like,
I feel a lot.
Do I need to better represent that, or?
I feel a lot like Alexander, in the sense that I rejected Pakistani culture, and you know.
I think that's a natural reaction as a child, though, because you want to fit into where you're living.
Well, yeah, but not only that, I also rejected American culture. I wanted to be British when I was a kid.
You fool!
It's true.
It's not better. Trust me.
I know that. I know that.
Better.
I know now that I really appreciate both Pakistani culture and American culture now. But yeah, when I was young, I was really odd. I really didn't. I wanted to be a Brit.
Fuck all this shit.
Tell me something. There's something I want to ask from you, Sohail, and it's really serious.
Oh.
Is that Shadow Picard in your picture in the back? Looks like a vineyard.
Oh yes, you're very good. It's actually a vineyard in Talence, I think, in France, outside Bordeaux. But I like to look at it and pretend that it is Chateau Picard. Actually,
it is not Chateau Picard. It is your vineyard next door to Chateau Picard. That's what it is.
Chateau Fazludin.
Sato Sohail.
Chateau Starfleet Boy. It's true. That's what it is. It's Chateau Starfleet Boy.
You better send some 68 for us then.
I like that question because I would like to highlight the photographer who's a dear friend of mine who's a neuroscientist studying in France. Actually, no, I think he has his PhD. He's working as a neuroscientist. He's doctor in Bordeaux, and he took that photo, and you can order it on Canvas, so I ordered a Canvas version of it to support him.
Nice.
Yes. I like to support. Speaking of support, let's support the ending of this episode by getting to... No, this was I had a really fun time talking about this.
Finish on something.
Oh yeah, sure.
So you asked like if I feel pressure regarding a certain culture.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to my daughter, so be it like the French culture or the New Zealand, the Kiwi culture, whatever. Not really, because I've kind of experienced, I suppose, many different cultures, and I've kind of come to pick and choose what I prefer. And so I think that, like the best thing, like Gary says, the best thing I can do is kind of teach her all of the differences from all of these places that I've lived and all of these different things that I've experienced, and she can, I suppose, make up her mind about what she thinks is the best. Because I think this is good in this country and this is crap in the other. She might think differently, but she can come up with that. What I do feel pressure about is like not being fucking Worf, right? Because I complain about him being a terrible father, but every single day that you have a child, well, at least I'm under pressure. Like I need to be not crap, and it's tough.
Wow, this is really crazy, cool. So you do have sympathy for him though, which is good, I think.
Oh yeah, I understand how difficult it is, especially considering like he's an important fellow, right? On this Enterprise, I'm not.
Yeah, no, he's very.
He's got a very important position,
just as
and
a
he's
character,
alone. He doesn't have the mother.
As a character,
so,
he's one of the most beloved characters in in Star Trek. Period. Like a lot of people really love Worf and Klingons, and you can see. I think the Doctor argues that it's like Picard, Data, Worf. Like that's the order of how much screen time and how much emphasis the characters get.
I think so, yeah.
But what I want to know is I think it's pretty safe to say that it's inevitable that we will see Worf in Star Trek Picard at some point.
Yeah.
What about Alexander?
No.
Gary, what do you
I'll
want to
tell
see
you
Alexander?
what.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. I very much enjoyed Riker and Troy getting married, and I very much enjoyed seeing a bit more of their story in Picard. But if Worf had married Deanna, alright, they could have been very happy together, and Alexander would have had a wonderful life, and he would have grown up to be a fantastic person.
Except Deanna would have died, as we know from the anti-time. It's possible that she could have died. Worf.
It's possible she could have lived a very beautiful life with
know,
Worf and never had to live through the trauma of losing her first son with Riker. Maybe she could have had a better life.
Oh my gosh, let's not think about it. Let's not think about it.
It wouldn't have been Adam Zadi.
and if that goes down in the line as well, then maybe Jadzia would have come together with Bashir at the very beginning. I mean, by the end,
maybe she wouldn't have died.
Maybe she wouldn't have died.
Oh look, I have a visitor on the show. Oh look, this is so nice. Thank you so much. at that. We were just talking about Picard, and she came in like impeccable timing.
I don't get that.
I don't get it either.
Family.
you
forever.
You're making us look like bad or miserable.
Yeah, exactly.
What, you don't get a cup
with no drinks?
A good cup of tea in the afternoon, like a proper English person. That's such a terrible. I apologize to we have a substantial English audience, and I think that probably embarrassed me right now. But anyways, so you guys don't want to see I want to see Alexander. I think it would be cool if Worf.
I want to see him. I just don't think we will.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You know, the funny thing is, at the beginning, you said that what happened with Alexander, like how he just kind of disappeared in the end of the episode.
Future Alexander.
Is it possible?
You're talking about
Future, yeah. Is it possible that? And I'm just thinking, and it's just probably Back to the Future comes into my mind really quick, because when they change something in the past, the person got deleted from the future because that future wasn't really.
But that's what happened. That's clearly what happened.
Probably it's just he just disappeared. His timeline was eradicated, or
the adult future Alexander that we saw in this episode doesn't exist anymore. Starting from the fact that he was still House of Moog, and in Deep Space Nine, House of Moog kind of ends because Worf joins the House of Martok.
Joins House of Martok, yeah.
So that guy doesn't exist anymore. The Alexander, like if we were to see the Alexander now in Picard, which is getting very close to the moment where he would actually go back into TNG, he would not be the same at all.
It would be a tragedy if he were the same, because that would mean that Worf.
That would be amazing storytelling to actually show that his life turned out so different, but he ultimately went back to the same point. Like it would be like you can't change the inevitable. Inevitably, he was so broken by his parents from the beginning that he remained a lost cause.
I'm surprised that he wouldn't go back and save his mother. Like his idea is to go kill himself. Why not actually?
It's desperation. I honestly think it's the ultimate form of depression, isn't it?
I think so. It's very sad now that I think about it.
The episode should have focused on that and how heartbreaking it is.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, time to give our ratings, gentlemen. Did everyone say everything that was on their minds?
What do my notes say? My notes say quark. My notes say that the guy on the planet, we're talking about the guy whom they go talk to the Duras sisters about, he first seems to want to know where the sisters are, but then all of a sudden he does know and he tells them where they are.
Wait, what was it?
Isn't it convenient?
But no, it's strange because at first they're like, oh, we need to know where the Duras sisters are, and he's like, oh, you know where they are? And he's really intrigued. It seems like they stole something from him, like he really wants to know where they are. Right. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we want information from you. And he's like, oh, I don't want to tell you where they are. And I was like, well, this is strange, because and I felt that was poorly written.
Interesting.
Because it's not as if the character kind of changed his stance. It really feels like they wrote it wrong.
Money comes up a lot in this episode, and I was it just reminds me again that the idea, I don't know where the idea that the Federation has no money kind of
within its borders. I think it has no money within its borders, but I think they need true. Federation credits.
Well, apparently they can get anything because you can get Latinum. I've seen them trade in Latinum. Alexander asked for money of his dad on the Klingon planet, was that the homeworld? They weren't on the homeworld, right? They weren't on.
No, that was an outpost.
It was a Klingon outpost, I think, some shit.
But remember, Alexander asked him for money, so I mean, they must have, and then Riker even has these vouchers for Quark's bar, and there's and the whole thing,
Just on a side note, I think a lot of people get confused because of the idea that Star Trek has no money, which is a big BS. from the very beginning, because they said that, in the future we don't have money. We do have money. In Earth, they don't use currency.
I think people use the fact that Picard tells Lily
but
that...
anywhere else, I mean,
Right?
Federation-wise, there's currencies available still.
And he says it to Lily. That's what people focus on. But do we reject what he said, or do we have to like justify, or do we have to...
He never says there's no more money, specifically. No. He says like poverty, there's no more poverty, there's no more need to like search for wealth, that kind of stuff.
Is that right? I'd have to watch it again.
And I think he is talking about Earth specifically as well.
Right.
But
Earth,
I would assume
Earth is a utopia. So is like Vulcan. Yeah. So is
Andor. Well, not anymore. But I would assume that Starfleet officers get some sort of pay, right? It's just that they don't need to use it ever, because as long as they live within the Federation. But when say Riker goes to Quark's bar, all right, which is it's a Federation outpost or whatever, but Quark's bar is still a place that you need to go and buy stuff at. He can take from his Federation credits, and I suppose there's like a conversion rate, like however many, like 10,000 Federation credits would convert to one slip of latinum. Right, he needs one slip of latinum to buy this, like 2 or 3 meals or whatever it is at Quark's bar. I would assume that that's how it works.
It's still currency, though. I mean, a credit is just another, like...
Oh, no, it is still currency. You just don't need it. You just don't need it in the utopian version.
In the utopian version of...
But then you got people like Rafi, which apparently can't replicate anything.
What do you...
She's not allowed to replicate
she got a budget replicator.
A new house.
I thought we all agreed that her poverty was a poverty of the spirit.
Yeah, but then she goes on and bitches about how Picard has all of these antique things, which he clearly must have replicated himself, because his house burnt down. So he replicated all of his antiques.
It was a shed, right? It wasn't the house. It was like the barn or a shed that burns down.
Was it the barn?
Yeah, because Marie survived.
And they couldn't get out of the barn? So horrible.
It just seems...
I'm shocked by this specific moment in Star Trek history. The burning of Robert. And the burning of Renee.
Poor Renee. It's true.
In the shed.
This episode of Starfleet Boy has gotten really crazy, right? We've gone way off topic to this, but I hear what you're saying. Oh, poor Renee and Robert. All he had to do was put fire sprinklers in his house, but he didn't want any.
It's a barn. He could have broken through the friggin'
What does Gary keep
wood.
looking at?
I don't know. He's intrigued. There's something going on outside.
What's out there, Gary? What's out there?
Is Boris Johnson outside? No, you're in Scotland now.
I'm in Scotland. It's Nicola Sturgeon, but if she comes around, that's not a problem. No, I have a pot there with sunflower seeds in it that started growing.
Oh wow!
And there's 2 of them. 2 of them popped out. I sprouted out like out of 5 or 6 of them, and I just noticed that how the light changes. These little seedlings. They change their leaves to change their position.
Well, that's sunflowers. That's what they do.
No. But the sun goes in that way, and then these facing on that way.
Oh, okay.
So they're facing in the opposite way. It's very interesting.
That's more interesting than Starfleet Boy. I think we have to end this show for Gary's sake and the audience.
No, I'm still listening. I just didn't know how to jump in.
The audience must feel the same.
I think that's the problem. Like I'm listening. I enjoy listening, but I don't know how to join in.
This is why he does it audio only.
This
is why he does his.
That's why we love you. You can just be.
No, this is why I'm not getting invited as much now.
This is why he does his podcast audio only. He asks a question, and then the guest just replies, but he starts looking at his plants.
No, that's not true, because every time I do the video in a video as well, I'm just not publishing the video.
Oh, okay.
There's no reason no one gets not invited. It's just Starfleet Boys. Sometimes because of COVID-19, I suddenly felt the urge that I had to get through.
You pumped out like 17 episodes.
I know. I was like, I have to do it. I have to get to the end, and so now we're only like 4 episodes away from the end. So I'm slowing down again.
So what you gonna do? What you gonna do after TNG is over?
Stand by. After TNG, we're going to TOS, the original series. That's been the plan since the beginning.
Just to keep myself occupied as well for some next week.
The show Starfleet Boy will eventually do every single Star Trek except Deep Space Nine, because we're trying our best to do it on Drunk Space Nine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the most organized show. Starfleet Boy is a lot more professional and organized than Drunk Space Nine. So maybe at the end we might have to do a sober Deep Space Nine discussion, but
Sober Space Nine.
Sober Space Nine. Anyways, I give this episode a 6.
Wow. I wasn't
like one of the lowest I heard.
I wasn't expecting that at all. I was still expecting something a bit higher. Yeah, I give it a 6.5 maybe.
Oh wow, okay.
There you go. Gary?
I still give a 10.
Wow, great. What would you say? Because you said you changed.
No, I changed my perspective about the episode, but I didn't change how I feel about the episode, and I still felt pretty amazing about the episode. I felt good about the episode when I watched it first time because of the whole Klingon culture, but even though now I, with a more mature eyes, I noticed something else. I still value the message of it, and it actually just now it tells me something not to do or not to become. The kind of person who wants to become.
Cool.
So I got a different message from it, and it's valuable for me. So I'll give it 10.
On a personal level, I do think it affected the two of you very much. I don't have a child, so I have the luxury of being disconnected from that. But I know you want one, and you have one, and so I think that's the most fascinating thing about this discussion. So I'm really glad that we went there today. All right, what do you guys have to promote? Let's start with Gary. Trekkerprise, what's going on? Like Sean, it's like this. I have this to promote. Come on. Gary just released a new podcast episode of his podcast Warm Blanket, which I had the privilege to be on as well. And so I definitely know that's going on. Anything going on else on YouTube?
Not really. Not at the moment.
Cool.
But will be something in the future soon.
And then audience, please check out Rock Tiger Designs. We don't ever talk about Rock Tiger.
It's Rock Tiger
thank gosh.
Design, yes.
I don't know what I read on your face, but I thought, oh no, I messed it up. I was surprised you brought it up. Oh, I pay attention. What are you talking about? I try. I try to pay attention. So Rock Tiger Designs and...
So Rock Tiger Design is still going on. I have to put a little bit more effort in it. I'm still building some pages. Obviously, Warm Blanket is something that I really enjoy doing, so that's great. That's happening.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun listening to it.
New episodes are gonna be out in every Wednesday. The only thing from next week probably I'm stopped uploading them onto YouTube because it just takes such a long time uploading them. Plus it's a heavy file load, so that's not gonna happen from the future. Twitter announcement is gonna be available, of course, and on the website. So if anyone ever checks out my website or checks out me on Twitter, then they will be getting some information on that. But yeah, other than that, nothing really goes on into Trekkerprise as it is at the moment.
Well, there's a lot of valuable content that's already there. Even if there's not any new content coming out, you do a great segment on characters, and also your reviews are fun to watch, and your travel videos. So I think that's okay. So
yeah.
So everyone go check that out.
It's funny because I was checking them in the other day, and I was like, I've got they brought back so much good memories, like the Star Trek tour videos, like the road trip videos I did with Beard vs Geek, and No. Just a lot of videos that I did. Just it was good to look back in them.
That's fantastic.
But yeah.
And Trek on the Tube, of course. Now you can show your DVD. You can show your DVD. You were trying to show earlier. Your Star Trek Picard season 1 review is online. That's the most current. Is out.
Yeah.
So audience, go check that out. And I loved listening to it. I knew most of your opinions, and I fundamentally disagree with you about Sir Patrick Stewart. But other than that, now audience, go check out what he said so you can find out what I disagree about.
I knew I'd get a bit. I knew I'd get a bit of hate for that.
Not hate, but no hate, bro. No hate. There's no hate, bro. It's just disagreement. Come on, I love you.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on my Discovery season 2 DVD, that kind of overview here. But I also want to get an original series review out, so episode 2. I want to continue on with those. While there's not too much news.
It's cool to think that at some point we'll be overlapping your original series reviews with.
I'm actually quite happy that this is linking up, because in a sense I'm sorry, we're going on forever here, but it is very useful for me. Stuff, yeah. It is very useful for me to do a Starfleet Boy discussion about a Picard or a Discovery episode, kind of in between the time where I see the episode for the first time and then I do my review. Because it kind of gives me other opinions. It kind of helps me kind of reflect better on my opinions.
You get to see what kind of crazy people are out there ahead of time.
Before they
comment on your video.
It's like I got that hate locked down first. I know what people are going to respond to, and it could be interesting to kind of have that same kind of dynamic for the original series.
I'm looking forward to having both of you on when we get there, but. Yes, so TNG, we're getting close to the ending, and I have some exciting, hopefully exciting things planned for the finale. Now, the Doctor says that he considers all of our Star Trek Next Generation discussions to be like season 1 of Starfleet Boy. No, I think we're on season 7 of Starfleet Boy, even though
it's one season per season of show, is that it?
Right, I would say so. I think so. So here's to season 7 coming to a close and moving on to the original series at some point, but I'm really getting sad. William Peck commented on our last video how he was getting sad when TNG was ending in real life, and I remember that was like a heavy thing. It was like very impactful that the show that I loved for the last 7 years was ending, and now I don't feel that kind of sadness now, because obviously Starfleet Boy goes on. Whoa, guys, that was not a COVID cough. I apologize. It's like tea going down the wrong direction.
This is so bad. Like every time when someone coughs, like, no, that wasn't COVID. That wasn't COVID.
No, it's the health anxiety is real. I try to make it fun though, if I can make fun of myself. But anyways, I guess what I was trying to say is that it's been an honor. It's been so wonderful doing this, because one thing I never expected is how many great friends I would meet along the way, and so I really love that about Starfleet Boy. And audience, if you made it this far, comment below and let us know what you think about this episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, and also what you think about our opinions about it. We'd love to know. And then also, if you are experiencing health anxiety or anything else non-related to Star Trek and you want to talk about it, you can reach all of us. I think I can volunteer you too on this one. You can reach all of us through our myriad of accounts. We're all over the place on the internet, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever you want. So we look forward to hearing from you. I love to hear from the audience. So if you have anything to say about anything, please reach out. And on that note, it was a joy. Live long and prosper, gentlemen. And we'll see you next time. Beautiful.